Welcome to the Plant Grow REIT podcast.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Daniel Pachoco, and with me today, Paul Martin and Kate Jackson. Thank you both for being here and joining me in the discussion that we're going to have today.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
So Paul and Kate recently joined Aintree Group through an acquisition of Paul's business, and in the past 6 months have transitioned into being team members who, for me, feel like they've been here for years.
Oh, thanks.
So to begin and kick things off, I just wanted to ask you both about your initial and honest reactions to, I guess, learning about the opportunity of joining or being acquired by, a larger firm like Aintree Group.
Yep. Yeah. Initially, excitement. So that's certainly the case for me, and then followed by a whole lot of nervousness. So obviously, when I've been working for myself for 25 years, coming and joining a big accounting firm, there was a lot of challenges for me, but it was certainly the initial one was excitement and couldn't wait to get in the door. So it was a fantastic opportunity for us. And I think that was certainly the initial reaction.
Yeah, right. What about yourself, Kate? Did you have any similar thoughts or different thoughts?
No, I think my first reaction was shock.
Yeah.
I was really surprised because it just completely came out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in about October last year. And one day Paul just came into my office and said, I've got to have a chat with you. And I had no idea what to expect, but that was probably way down on the list of what I thought would happen. But within 30 seconds, I just thought this is a great opportunity, and I'm so fortunate just to be handed a job without having to do a resume. I barely had an interview. So I just thought this is a great opportunity and I'm going to really run with it.
Yeah, right. So I guess going on from that, so was that probably the thing you were maybe worried about, that, being acquired, like Paul's business being acquired, like was there maybe, scope for your job not to be there, for example? Is that something that
definitely
you were stressed about?
Yeah. No, I was. I'm very lucky just to have been given the job.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think it's worked out both ways, because I think for our clients it has been a benefit having the familiar faces and the familiar person to talk to. When I've been working for Paul for, I think, at least 15 years.
Yeah, 15, right. Yeah.
And I've had a lot of those clients that I've worked with every week, basically. So to keep that relationship going, I think it has helped.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Definitely important. So Paul, what were you maybe worried about, nervous about? Talk to me about, your side of things.
Certainly worried about the transition of clients into a bigger firm. So one of the reasons we started our firm 25 odd years ago was because we were part of a larger firm, and a lot of the clients were feeling a little bit lost, and there was they needed that personal touch. And so me and the partner I was working with at the time said, we need to take more control of the situation, and that's why we started our own firm. And it was to take those clients into a more personal, hands-on environment. And so then to reverse it again and say, hey, tell the clients that now we're going back into a bigger accounting firm. To me, I was really nervous, because I said, how are the clients going to react? Are they going to take it and say this is a great opportunity for them because of the resources available? Or they're going to say, aren't we going to talk to you anymore, Paul? We're not going to see your face around. And so I was really nervous about the way that the clients were going to react. I guess taking a step back, it'd be good to go to why I thought Aintree Group was a good fit for us, and that might answer the question as well. And I said to Shane when we talked about the transaction, and I thought, how is this going to affect our clients? And after talking to him and talking about how your culture is and so forth, I figured that our clients had found a home, and that was the easiest way that I could explain it to people. I felt like our clients had found a home. And once I realised that, a lot of stress was gone and a lot of that nervousness was gone. So it was certainly a big change to the way I was going to think about the way that the process was, or the merge was going to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. So obviously, big determining factor, that part. Right?
It was, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get into, I guess, more about the fit of Aintree Group, talk to me about So how has that gone? Telling your clients about the change and how have you gone about it? Have you maybe applied, a consistent approach, a cookie cutter approach with all your clients, sent them an email or similar kind of phone call, or have you tailored it, and how has the reaction actually been?
From my point of view, having Kate come along was a big factor because that was a consistency as well. So that with a lot of clients Kate was dealing with on a constant, almost day-to-day basis for some clients, and for them to have that consistency and for them to be able to know that at least, there was another familiar face there apart from myself, that was a big determining factor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And if I was in the position of the client, I'd probably feel the same.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So I guess, so how have you talked about the fit and one of the reasons why you came on board with Aintree Group, but how have you actually felt within the office in terms of the fit, I guess culturally or, in terms of the office space, etc. Kate, how do you think you felt, or maybe some initial reactions or thoughts?
I felt really comfortable right from day one, and even from, I think I came in about November and I met with Nadia and Shane and Andrea, and it just like Paul said, it just felt like a really good fit. I felt, just so welcomed. I could tell it was going to be great for our clients. The office had a really good feel about it. I hadn't worked in a big office for 30 years, which is a really long time. And offices have changed an awful lot, I think, just the way that they're run. There's a lot more casual, but in a professional way. And it just felt really comfortable. Everyone was so welcoming. And even though I was extremely nervous about starting, I felt really well supported and have all the way through.
Yeah.
That
could
side
imagine.
of it's been great.
That's good to hear. And obviously, that would be a pretty big change going from, was it, so in your previous firm, how many others were there?
There was 4 of us.
Right, yeah. So going from 4 to, I guess on our level upstairs is 30 to 35 maybe. So obviously a bit of a change. Over, 15 to 30 years, however long it's been, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit more people around the lunch table.
Yeah, definitely. How have you felt, Paul? Have you felt similar to Kate in that regard?
It feels it feels like home is the easiest way to say it. And I keep using that word because it's the most comfortable way to express it. The age demographic's been interesting, It's a lot of young people in the office, and not sure I'm right up with what's happening in Love Island at the moment, but but that was sort of always a challenge working with some younger people because everyone that was working in our office was similar age to us. So that was always been interesting.
Were you worried about that coming in? In a way?
It was always something in the back of my mind as, how's that going to work? But I felt really comfortable. And the good thing is I've been able to talk to, say, people like yourself and Joseph and have some really good discussions about work as well. And then, personal things as well. I love, touching on the personal side with everyone, and that's been really good as well. You found some, good connections with people. Yeah. But it was a bit of a challenge with the younger.
Could imagine,
younger staff.
I really love that part of working at Aintree Group though. It's just opened up my eyes to how younger people do work, and I'm not surprised, but it's just so great to see how hard they work, what great communicators they are. They're driven. It's been a real positive for me, just being exposed to a whole new generation almost. It makes us sound really old, doesn't it? But it does feel like that, and it's I think it's fantastic.
Yep. No, that's good to hear. Yeah, obviously, we got a few. I think definitely a lot of good team members who definitely give off that positive vibe, if you want to call it these days.
Yeah.
Which is great. And from my experience, I think Aintree Group has focused on that a lot in terms of diversification of ages and really just getting people that mould well together, no matter if you're maybe 60 or 20 years old kind of thing. And that's something that's grown and gotten and improved over the years from at least my experience. So, it's good to hear that you guys feel that as well and feel welcomed and that kind of thing. So, really positive. I guess let's get into some of the actual work. And I wanted to ask you about the immediate, I guess, differences in terms of your day-to-day work and how that experience has been. Because at Aintree Group, we have a lot of policies and procedures these days because of the size we're at, and probably do things a lot differently compared to a firm with 4 people naturally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, talk to me about maybe 1 or 2 things that come to mind in terms of the big differences there.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it's and this is the biggest positive is that there are documented procedures, and way we do is an incredible document or set of documents.
Mhm.
I want to know how to do X, type it in, there it is. So way we do to me is an absolute game changer. And I've actually gone to clients, and we're actually in the middle of a process at the moment of using something similar to way we do for them to write their procedures. So it has really opened my eyes about how something like that, a structured document like that, but flexible, can change the way that you do your work. So that's the main thing that I found was those procedures. Some find it daunting, some find it over the top. The interesting thing for when Kate and I joined was that a lot of the other staff hadn't done the induction. So we went through this induction process and learned all the procedures and how you're meant to do things. Then we go to someone, how do you do this? And they said, oh, you just do it this way. I said, oh, but that's not what it says in way we do. And all of a sudden, we felt like that we're in control of what we were doing just because of understanding those procedures. So it was absolutely a game changer from my point of view.
Yeah. Yourself, Kate, I imagine similar.
Yeah, similar. Yeah, I think initially my first thought was, well, we were going paperless from having an office full of files flicking through papers.
That would have been a big change.
But it was, but that's been quite easy. But I think, like Paul said, it's the structure of how Aintree Group operates that is just way different to what we did, and which has to happen when you have that many people. But I think that's probably been the biggest change for me is just the structure in the day and just little things like there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of training that you have to really be on the ball about.
Mm.
Like I haven't really used Outlook Calendar before.
Yeah, right.
So even basic things like that, like a couple of times there'd be a group of people all of a sudden get up and I'd think, oh no, what have I missed? And I'd quickly get myself organised and get into whatever meeting it was.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think it's that side of it has been different.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel better, I think there's a few people that do that where they kind of they look around and they're like, crap, what did I miss out on?
Exactly.
A lot of half the time it's maybe a specific kind of class and all that kind of thing. But
yeah.
So before at Microsoft Outlook, imagine this is me assuming what you used based on being a paper kind of firm. Did you just use a normal diary or? Like what did you use for your calendar in the past? Or
Practice Manager. So
right.
So Practice Manager was our diary. So
right. Okay.
So that's I relied on that constantly.
Yep.
So that was basically how we set our tasks up and set meetings up and so forth. It was all done through Practice Manager. So
and it worked really well. Like when you only have a couple of people.
Yep.
Mm.
And we were pretty flexible with like when we'd catch up to review work, and it was pretty flexible.
We didn't have to book a meeting room.
No.
That was a big thing.
Yeah. It was grabbing time when we had time, and it worked.
Yeah.
No, I could imagine. Yeah. So I guess a question on that, do you prefer the electronic side of things now, or do you still, part of you still wishes things are on paper? Because for me personally, it's still writing to-do lists and stuff on paper. I actually prefer, even sometimes printing out documents lately. If I just want to go meet with someone and talk to them, I actually prefer printing it out. It's just easier.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't be saying that too loud, but do you guys, do you think you've passed that point of, okay, like electronics, everything, I'm all on board, or do you still miss parts of it?
I miss parts of it. sometimes if I'm working something out, I want the printout there to look at, refer to, write notes, do my little sums, things like that I find. And like you said, the note keeping, when you're trying to keep records of something you've done or conversation you've had. Yeah, I'm still getting my head around that side of things. But I think everyone is, by the sounds of it. Like it's and the system that we have, FYI, like that's changing again. So it's it's evolving all the time. But yeah, that's probably one thing that I do miss a little bit.
Yeah, so from my perspective, it's been I don't even think of paper anymore. It didn't take long to adapt. I think I was almost there in the old firm, but you got your old habits, and that's what you're stuck with. But I was doing a lot of stuff on PDFs and on spreadsheets and that sort of thing. So there was a lot of paperless stuff in there. So mostly meeting notes that were on our old yellow sheets.
Yeah.
So we've certainly changed that. And I think the advantage that I can see is making more notes in, say, FYI or carbon when we go to that next week. Someone else can just pick it up and go with it. And understand the advantage of that is incredible because not that it makes you redundant, but you've got confidence that if you go away on holidays, if you go away, someone else can pick up the thread of what you've been talking about with a client. Kate can refer back to it if she needs to. If she's, think, what did Paul talk about? I can tag her in those notes, and all of a sudden she can read those notes, or someone else can read those notes. So that's hasn't taken long to adapt to being in that paperless environment. Certainly scroll a few notes, but now I'm in the habit of transcribing them and putting them into notes and FYI. So yeah.
I guess it's almost a no-brainer sometimes, where you just see the decrease in touch points, and the time you save with certain things, and even like with carbon and probably a lot of other softwares, you put those notes into the system, and you were saying how another person can go pick it up and refer to it. The computer can pick it up and refer to it, and
exactly,
and keep it there forever, right? And make like the AI can summarize it and do all these things and save time. So yeah, definitely beneficial. Obviously, having everything digital, but yeah, like you were saying, Kate, I wanted to touch on the point about how you're still getting used to everything, and you feel like everyone else almost is as well. I think because the Aintree Group is very dynamic, and we do change a lot for the better. Whilst it's not always perfect, and you can't get your wins everywhere with dynamic changes and being a dynamic firm, it kind of keeps everyone on their toes, and I feel like it shows the people that can adapt. And it seems like you guys have adapted pretty well with changing a lot of pretty significant things or items. So yeah, I guess it shows. Yeah, I think it shows you the people that can adapt pretty well to new things. And
yeah, I think so. And I think the good thing about Aintree Group is it does have all those systems and structures in place to really support anyone coming along. So even for us, starting from scratch, and also trying to integrate a whole group of clients, it's been as easy as it could be, I think.
Yeah, even different accounting systems, right? Which some people might, non-accountants might think, it can't be that hard, just go from one system. But it can be quite hard, right?
It can.
Especially if you've been using it for a long time.
Yeah, well, we had our old system all the way through the practice, and all our procedures and everything was integrated into how that system worked. And so to come across to Aintree with a completely different software structure and systems was pretty confronting. So, but once again, within the first month, I think we adapted pretty quickly. Big learning curve, no doubt. Mistakes were made, but I think that's how you learn. And a lot of questions asked. Unfortunately, Jess is sitting between us, so. She's copped a lot of questions, and she's been so good about it. I can help you with that. So that's that, and that's once again part of the culture there at Aintree Group is, everyone's there to help, and everyone's got time for you, and it's and that's been so helpful for us.
Yeah,
I found it's that balance of trying to be self-sufficient and learn on your own and figure things out for yourself, and then sometimes you just need to ask a question, and it's often a 10-second answer and, okay, now I've got it.
Yeah.
And off you go.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's, it's a bit of a balance.
That's true. And I feel like, or from my experience, everyone almost goes through that what's the word, like trying to figure out the balance of, how many, do I just ask the question straight away and pretend I'm, someone's Google and I can just go to them for everything, or do I try and be self-sufficient, use all these nice procedures that we have, and trying to find that balance and not asking too many questions, etc. But I guess to solve that, then the person on the other end can, which again, this is difficult, but you can say to the person asking, like, have a go yourself, etc., and take the guts to give some feedback in that way. But I guess, you guys mentioned how Jess is great, and she's obviously a big part of the culture. I love Jess personally. She's a great person. Talk to me more about the rest of the cultural stuff at Aintree Group and maybe some of the events and, what you've thought of them, or any favourite moments over the last 6 months. Tell me what kind of springs to mind there.
Morning teas. Yeah. The
big fan.
The monthly morning teas, some of them have been over the top, been pretty impressive.
Elaborate, please.
Well, I think the effort. I think that's the people aren't just opening up a box of cookies and putting it on the table. There's so much effort that the culture champions put into that monthly morning tea is just once again reflecting how they make people part of the organisation, and Aintree Group welcomes everyone. And I think just that small thing every month is really, really positive. And to me, that was, I think we had 2 or 3 in the first month that we were there.
Right.
Yeah, we did.
Good timing.
It was
I
good
don't know why
timing.
there were so many, but there was.
Yeah, but there was. So it was really good. And even things like, you got the opportunity to do book club, you got the opportunity to do the walking club. Don't have to participate, but if, it's a great way to get to know someone is just go for a 10-minute walk with them, or, sit down with them and talk about a couple of things not work related. And that to me is a big thing.
I guess they're the basic things. I think the coffee machine's a big bonus. That's well used. And I remember just in my first week or so, and Graham, who I think introduced that
He's Mr.
big,
Coffee.
beautiful coffee machine, came into the kitchen and said, "Would you like me to make you a coffee?" And just something as simple as that. And he showed me how to work it and operate it. And, I remember that and just thinking, wow, this is a good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been lots of little experiences like that where someone's just been thoughtful and considerate.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way.
For sure. And it definitely helps when the leaders of the firm are doing that and setting the example. And it obviously shows to everyone else that, okay, this is what our culture is. And to uphold it and to give people those memorable moments, we have to all participate and work as a team, right? But I'm sure you guys are also looking forward to the new office that we're moving into soon, and I imagine there'll be even more activities there, so that should be good, and I guess can only enhance some of the things we do.
Table tennis, basketball.
Yeah, supposedly. So I've heard some other firms and kind of what they do in terms of like competitions, and like for example, table tennis. I was speaking to, I think, colleague team member the other day about a mate of his, and he was saying how for table tennis, if they want to challenge the best person who's wins the first competition or whatever, they have to shout them a nice dinner or lunch.
Oh yeah, like that.
Like if they challenge them to a competitive match or a ranked match. So we can maybe implement things like those. But have you guys actually, now that I think about it, we have a naming competition, as you guys are aware, for our new rooms. You guys submitted any answers for that?
Oh,
I haven't because I
haven't.
It's hard to think of names.
I actually had the discussion at home, and
the family couldn't help.
No, not really, but maybe we might revisit it.
Yeah.
Have you got some good suggestions?
I haven't. No, I know someone. I think Jess, who was part of the CCs who organised it. I think it was Jess came up with the Chamber of Secrets for our. There's going to be a little den for all the legal documentation, the important legal documentation. So there's a lot of Harry Potter fans. I think it's the Chamber of Secrets, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But Paul, you seemed like maybe you submitted a few.
No,
or are they confidential?
It's it's
until they win.
Until they win, yeah. No, I haven't. It's not something that I've got my creative juices
We
into
might need
at
a
the
little
moment.
bit of guidance.
Yeah, but
Maybe
having
some suggestions.
Harry Potter theme.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not
true.
bad.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of chat GPTs out there that can maybe help as well.
Yes.
Right. No, but yeah, very excited for that. So I guess looking back on the transition and, you know, what everything that's happened in the last 6 to 12 months, what's been maybe the most rewarding part of it? And you might have mentioned an answer or two already, but happy for you to repeat. What's probably been the most rewarding part of the transition and the change?
I think it's for me, and because of the reasons that we needed to merge and join Aintree Group. Once again, as I said before, for our clients and to give them an environment that they feel welcoming in was important. But most rewarding thing for me is that I've felt part of it, part of Aintree Group and part of the greater organisation from day one, and have never felt like I've taken a backward step. I felt like I've been given, at my age, an incredible opportunity, and I'm very grateful for that. And it has been a big change, no doubt about it. Like it was a massive step to do what we did. And then, you know, Kate, I said, springing it on Kate in October in a random meeting. She thought we was going to talk about what we're going to do for lunch and, you know, change her life. And the rewarding thing has been that, you know, the acceptance and just feeling part of an incredible organisation, and just knowing that has given me confidence that the clients are going to get looked after, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
Kate, yourself?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's come along at a really good time. My youngest, I have 3 kids, and my youngest finished year 12 last year. So it was a time I had always thought 2024 was going to be a time when I could think about myself a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely happened. So, but it's all in a really good, positive way. And yeah, like Paul, I just feel really grateful to be at this stage and to be part of Aintree Group. And I think now we've got over this nearly first 6 months. We've got through lodgement periods, all that introduction, and trying to get clients across, which has worked really well. I'm really looking forward to the next stage and starting the new financial year.
Yeah, no, that's very good to hear. Great answers. Any advice, maybe more yourself, Paul, or maybe both, in terms of others who may be in a similar position and have to make a really big decision, and even if you expand to just life, because obviously, there's maybe some advice and how you kind of thought about it or think about these kind of things, because as you said it, I could imagine it would have been a pretty big decision or thing to consider.
It was because when you're running your own business and you're responsible for people and their lives as well, to make the decision that we did wasn't easy, but it had to be done for a lot of reasons. You know, I'll get a little bit emotional here because one of the things that I've done is actually I'm no longer working with my wife, and I've worked with Melinda for 25 years, and it was really hard to say, honey, we're not going to be doing this together anymore. So from a personal situation, that was a massive decision, and I'm so grateful to her because Melinda's been able to keep working in our old office, and she's had to scan 96 archive boxes of all our old paperwork and everything, and just been a real soldier about going about doing it, and that's part of the partnership that we had, and the reason that our company worked so well was because we did work so well together. So missing her every day has been really, really hard. So you've got to take all those decisions, all those things into mind when you're making these sort of decisions. It's all personal factors, just not the business factors. It's how it affected Kate, how it affected Lynn, who was our other employee, how it affected our clients. you had to consider all of that because it was such a major change for everyone. It was as if we were going from one big firm to another big firm, or from one small firm to another small firm. It was a dynamic change for the clients and a dynamic change for myself, obviously a change for Kate, and also for our family. So the factors that you need to consider: personal, it's business, financial, all those sort of things are all critical, and you've got to take your time and you've got to work through every single one of those. And you have to get some good advice as well. So I've had a couple of people mentor me through my business life, and sitting down and just having a lunch with a couple of those people and just getting some sense. Some of them said, "Hey, why are you doing that?" And some of them saying, "Paul, I can see it in your face. You need to do it." And I'm grateful for those people as well, because they were able to enlighten me and just being able to talk about the pros and the cons, because it wasn't all good. There wasn't all there wasn't a whole upside to everything. There was obviously issues that we needed to consider for clients as well. So from a business perspective, it had to be done. It just had to be done right. And following my initial meeting, and it was at your Christmas party, you probably won't even realise this, but it was your Christmas party 2 years ago that I first met Shane. And Peter Gandolfo asked me to come along, and I was off the cuff remark to Shane,
Yeah, right. So were you at the Christmas party?
I was at the Christmas party.
Where did,
it was at,
can you remind me?
The
Staff
function.
Sorry,
upstairs,
client.
the client function upstairs. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
you just
Yeah.
ignored me, but that's okay.
Clearly.
And just an
Wow.
off-the-cuff remark to Shane. He goes, I said, interested in doing something? And he just smiled at me, goes, always interested. And I thought, opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah.
So that's how quickly it
It's been
happened.
a long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So obviously, yeah, maybe quickly, but also there was over a year to almost think about it and prepare. And it seems like you took all the right avenues in
Go through that process,
and
you've got to go
right,
through all the steps.
making the right decision.
Yep.
Were there there might not be an answer to this, but is there anything you look back on and think, I could have done that differently, or maybe a little thing that, I don't know what it could be. There might be, happy for you to say there's no answer to this, but something you could have done differently.
I think the timing was perfect. I don't think I could have done it any earlier. So I think the timing was perfect. Might have been able to prepare a little bit better for it from our record side. For example, if we probably understood the systems, Aintree Group systems a little better, I think that integration could have been a lot smoother. So that's the only thing I'd say is probably the integration of our documentation and processes. That could have been probably a little bit smoother from my point of view. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like everything else went pretty well. Can't be perfect, right?
It can't be, and it's happened in a very quick time. So, it's, to me, we had two stages. We had pre-March and post-March. Because in March, so it was to get the integration. So January and February was to get the integration happening, get our clients across, start the bring across of all the ledgers and all the accounting work and bed that sort of in, go overseas for 3 weeks, come back and then start work. And that's basically how it happened.
Yep.
So,
So we still had a lot of work to get through, didn't we?
We did a lot beforehand, but
but it's, it was pretty intense.
It was very intense.
A few months. It was nice to get to that 15th of May deadline and think, okay, we've actually achieved a lot in a pretty short amount of time, really.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. When we've been doing all the work ourselves, so I've either been relying on Kate, Melinda or Lynn, or I've been doing a lot of work, and you tend to take ownership of it. Now all of a sudden you have to delegate. And we haven't even talked about that.
To new people.
To new people, and have to trust them and say, Leonard, have a go at this. Sam, have a go at this. And It's been a very, very big challenge. I hadn't even thought about it till you mentioned it, but that's been a big challenge, is the delegation and saying, just run with this, get it done. Having faith in the systems has been important as well. But certainly that has been interesting. Yeah.
It's only just starting, really, that side of it. Like this next financial year, we're starting from scratch.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because if you've been working with the same group of people, you know them inside and out, right? And you go to a new bunch of people or younger people, less experienced, for example, and using different softwares, that would be a big thing. And so, should be proud of yourselves for transitioning and proud of everything else, of course, as well. So I guess just to finish off, let's think ahead. What are your future hopes for your, your time at Aintree Group moving forward, or maybe something in particular you want to give back in terms of your experience and expertise?
Yeah, it's giving back's a big part of it. And I think that's I've talked to Shane and Andrew a lot about that, how, when you've got 40 years of experience, don't laugh, 40 years of experience, you've learned a lot, you've made a lot of mistakes, you've seen a lot, and it's not, from an accounting point of view, it's not just the books, it's understanding client relationships, how to develop those client relationships,
how to maintain them,
how to prosper out of them as well, understanding that where you get your future work from as well. So helping people understand client relationships is a big part of what I'd like to do. But in a moment, if I wasn't going to make the move with Aintree Group, there was only one other option, and that was basically to sell the practice, walk away, and not be involved, retire if you like. And I said, no way am I going to start retiring. And I think being part of Aintree Group has given me another lease on life. And all of a sudden, I'm not looking at next year. I'm not looking at the year after. I'm certainly committed to Aintree Group for a long period of time, and whatever form that takes. But certainly mentoring and developing client relationships is a big part of what I see that I can offer for Aintree Group.
Yeah, no, I personally look forward to receiving mentoring from yourself, and that I'm sure the future and Aintree Group will appreciate all of that. But what about yourself, Kate? How are you feeling?
I think personally, I'm really looking forward to just developing my skills. I think I've had a fantastic job with Paul over such a long period of time. Professional development has probably not been my strongest point. And I think that's something that I really want to work on and improve. And then there's other things like AI, which we haven't looked at. I haven't really looked at that personally. There's so many opportunities at Aintree Group. There's a lot to learn, and I'm looking forward to just taking on extra and
developing new skills and learning more. Yeah, no, it's great that you have that mindset.
Yeah,
there's definitely an unlimited thing. List of things to know and all kinds of jobs and occupations, right? Yeah, whether it's technical knowledge or soft skills or even AI, which is pretty crazy that it's how big AI has become. And I always look back and think that I feel like AI has always kind of been there, but it wasn't called AI. It was in the background, and there was little things here and there. Yeah. But now a lot of us have learned how we can use it in our businesses and jobs and that kind of thing. So,
and hasn't it been great that the way even say Andrew explains it, and she goes, it's the opportunity that you've got to use AI, and it's a step forward, not a step backward, and taking that sort of technology, by the horns and running with it, and then embedding it in almost everything that we do, and saying this is an opportunity to us to get more efficient, for us to grow. And to be more productive, and not thinking that it's going to take our job. So it's a real mindset change, and I really embrace it. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, big has a big relation to mindset and always wanting to be better. And I feel like we almost have this positive culture of, if we don't kind of adopt or trying to adapt to something or embed it, we almost feel like we might fall behind a little bit, and we don't want to, fall behind in terms of a firm as a team, because we try and think we're a pretty well-performing team and that kind of thing. And it's good that I think from the head to the toe, or from the top of the firm, the leaders embed this culture of let's always try to improve and get better and look to new softwares and technologies. So I think we're very fortunate to have that.
No. Yeah,
there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of really great people to work with and learn from and spend our working lives with. It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Very good to hear. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. It's been a
Daniel.
pleasure.
Thanks, Daniel. It's good. New experience.
Definitely. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of Plant Grow Reap, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.